Hey everyone, North Central here. Thanks for tuning in. My last video that I did, it was me planting some strawberries in a planter that I made out of a pallet. And it wasn't 30 minutes after I put it on YouTube that one of my subscribers commented on it, wanting to know if I would go ahead and do a video showing how I made the thing. So that's what this video is. It's how to make a planter out of a pallet. And before we get started into it real big, I want to go ahead and bring the camera a little bit close to take a look at the pallet, because I'm a little bit particular about the pallets that I like to get to make my planter out of. I've already made one, and I want the second one that I do to match it. I do live in a subdivision and it needs to look nice, okay? So let me bring it in here and just go over the pallet just a little bit with you. Okay, so the pallet's actually in pretty good shape, and that's exactly what it is that I'm looking for. You can see it has 9 slats or pieces of wood that's running across here horizontally. This one has a little bit of damage up here, which means that I'll be replacing this one with one that I did. Whenever you do your planter, it's always good to have 2 pallets exactly alike. That way you can use wood off another one to replace broken slats that you find, or if you happen to break a slat, then you can replace it as well. And plus you can also use a wood off the second one to fill in different places, and I'll show you that whenever we get into it. It does have a little bit of paint on it, but for the most part it's pretty clean, and that's a very important part. Now another thing that I look for in a pallet is you can see how these are made. This is made out of 3 different blocks that they put wood in, and then of course have the slats going horizontally across it. And that's another thing that I'm looking for, because whenever I make my bags and stick in here, they'll actually stick back up in here. What that means is you can actually fit a little bit more dirt in these things. The more dirt that you can put in here, the better. The more moisture it's going to keep, and the better your plants are going to do. So that's always a good thing. I want pallets with this section here, not a straight piece of wood up in here, but something that's made with 3 pieces. And you know, if you get one that's just got a straight piece of like a 2x4 or something in here, you can make that work too. You just have to do a little bit more thought process through it, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. Okay, so I like the pallet. I'm going to go ahead and set this thing up on the table, and then I'll reposition the camera and we'll get started. Okay, you know, there's only really a few tools that we need. And the first one is, of course, gloves. I always recommend, if you're going to work with some type of metal or wood, that you put gloves on. This stuff is dry wood and it's got a lot of splinters in it. So I like my fingers without splinters in them. The second one is, of course, a hammer. This is just a 16-ounce hammer. And of course, a pry bar. And you know, you can pick any of these things up at a hardware store. I think this is less than $10. In fact, I think this one cost me somewhere around $7. So they don't cost that much if you don't have one. You can get away with using a big screwdriver if you want to, but you're more susceptible to damaging your wood when you do it that way. This is a lot wider and can pry things up easier. Okay, so on these pallets, of course, the big blocks of wood are underneath this one, and the top one up here. And those are your hardest ones to get out. They use a lot longer nails in these whenever they're putting them in there like that. At least they do on this type of pallet. These middle slats here, the 3 here, and the 3 down here, these have shorter nails. They're a lot easier to get off. So these are the ones that we're going to be concentrating on. This bottom one here, it's really nice. It's really on there good. We're going to leave it. We're going to take these 3 off, leave the middle one, take these 3 off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Find one that's got one there. Be careful, because they're still going to have the nails in them. You got to drive those out. type of pallet, it's actually pretty easy to get these off. Cover your ears. Okay, so now I've got these three. I'm gonna go ahead and take off the top three. Then when you pry these, you wanna be careful. You don't want to break them. Now that's got a little hole in it there where I broke that knot out, but that's gonna be okay. Another thing is save your nails, because we're gonna be using them in here in just a little bit. So the next step, and I'm going to replace this top one here, so I'm going to go ahead and take it off. Since it's broke. The thing that I do mostly with the nails up here, just pound them. I've got all the slats off that I want to get off. So the next step is to start putting slats back on. And I'm going to go ahead and pound the nails back out of these. Like so. What you're going to do, get a pile of these. And I'm going to do that to all these boards. Just pound the nails right. Okay, so I've got all the slats off that I want to take off, including the very top one up here that was damaged on the 1/4. So it just leaves me with 2. But that's okay. So what we're going to do to create our little box up here is we're going to take 3 of these. It doesn't really matter which 3 it is, as long as it's just 3. And we're going to put them as close together as you can. And then of course we're going to nail them off. Hold your ears again. Now, some of the nails that you knocked out, you can go ahead and put back in. I guess I didn't have one in the center. There's the bottom pretty much done. Now we're going to do the top ones. Now you remember me telling you in the beginning of this that it's always good to have 2 pallets exactly alike in case you break one of the boards or one of them's damaged and you have to replace it. Well, that's where this comes from, because I have 2 pallets. One of them I've already taken apart. And so this one is now going to become my top board. Okay. That part is pretty much done. So I'm going to pull the camera back and give you another shot of this with it standing upright. Okay, so that didn't take very long at all. I've got my 4 boards here, my board up here at the top. I've got my entryways here to where the plants can grow out. This, of course, being the front. So this part is pretty much done, but it's not complete yet. Now, again, I said that you're going to need 2 pallets, and the reason for that is because the other pallet you're going to use boards off of it. In between here, I can stick my hand up here, and of course my fingers come out here. Okay? And whenever you put a bag in here, I don't want the bag just hanging. So what I do, I flip it upside down. I'm going to take another one of the slats and I'm going to put it right inside here, all the way across. Which is another reason why I like having these 3 blocks inside here. Now this one will need to be cut just a little bit. Need to cut off about 1.5 inches or so of it. So I'm going to get the saw and go ahead and do it. So I sawed about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of this off. It doesn't have to be exact. Stick it in here, all the way across. Get it somewhat even on both sides. And then using some more of the nails from the second pallet that I had that I took apart, I'm going to nail it down. Okay, so basically what I've got now is a divider between the bottom here and of course the top, and the top bag can sit right on top of this board here. You can see that here, this board is the one that I just put in. So, now if you look at the bottom of this pallet, you see the wood sticking up here just a little ways. So what I like to do is of course get another slat, stick it on the bottom, just like so. And what that's going to do is give it a nice flat area for this thing to sit on. It still has space down here for water to seep out. So again, you find some more nails here. Come right here to the middle. Okay, so now flip it back over. And you can see it sits pretty good, not too bad. So now you can see the sides are also open, the top is open. So I put another board here, another board on top, and another board on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's recap here just a little bit. What I've done is I took off these 3 center boards, 1, 2, 3, and they had a little bit of spaces in between them. I moved them all down and nailed them together, which made this space. I removed the top 3 boards, and I did the same thing as I did the bottom. This board right here was actually damaged, so I replaced this one with a new board and put it up here at the top. Okay. On the inside, I nailed a board up under here, so I can't get my hands up in here now. Okay, and whenever you go to put a bag in here, it can lay right here on this board. I put a board on the side, as you can see here. Okay, and that just makes it a little bit more pretty. Okay, you can't see really through this. This is going to be a nice stain. I put a board on the top. I put a nice board across the top and across the bottom. The reason I did it on the bottom is so it'll stand nice and straight. The top is more of a cosmetic thing like the side is. I didn't put anything on this side because this side is actually going to butt up against the other pallet that I've got down by that I put the strawberries in. As far as nailing and woodwork and stuff, this thing's done. Okay? At this point, you can sand it if you want, try and get some of the paint out of it, or you can just go ahead and put your finished coat of whatever on it. You can lay it out there just like this. You can get linseed oil on it. This wood's very, very dry, so linseed oil really soaks up into this stuff really well, and you can use that as a protectant. I'm going to stain it like I did the other one. And once that's done, then I'll start working on the bags, but that'll be on video number 2. So stay tuned for that. And until then, this is North Central. Thanks for watching, guys.